Welcome back to The Watch, and oh my gosh, the Wheel of Time Season 2 finale, Episode 8. Oh, this was unbelievably bad, like shockingly bad. I did not think it would be this bad. As always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, the lady.
We got through it.
Like multiple times, both you and I burst out either in laughter or
saying, what?
shock.
What?
Like, what? What is going on? This show is an abomination, and we're going to get to, of course, detailed breakdowns, all right? Our criticism, I never just founded on, we just like the books. No. The actual show writing is dog crap. And this episode, do they have a thing with just screwing up at the finish line? People usually think, it's bad, but they'll pull it together at the end. But the season 1 finale was one of the worst episodes in season 1, and easily this is the worst episode of season 2. Unbelievably.
Okay, so this isn't the worst for me. We had a really bad one before that didn't even go near the books.
Yeah.
This went near the books and then spat on it.
Yeah. This took certain things from the books and warped and mutated it in such an insulting way. And that's why, to me, it's the worst. What they did is just so offensive to the message of the original books and the material in the original books, all for, as we've been saying this whole time, for an agenda and an ideology. If you don't like specific mask off moments where it is so blatant that they have made so many changes for agenda and ideology. And this episode, more than any other episode, you could see the kind of sensitivity activists behind the scenes saying, this would be problematic in the books, It's problematic that Gwen is saved. And so, no, she wouldn't be empowering if all the women always save themselves. And then, Rand, he has this moment where he confronts the evil one and he has this big sword fight and he stands his ground. Well, that's a toxic masculinity. Wouldn't it be better if instead of Egwene being saved, we'll have the main character, the hero character, be saved? But no, not just saved. We'll have him saved 3 times. And no, we can't have him really be saved by the men. Yeah, we'll get him to do token little moments of where it looks like they're helping. But no, he's actually going to be saved by the women, and not just once, not just twice, 3 separate times. The hero main character, Rand, the Dragon Reborn, the hero of the show, is such a weak, pathetically cowed little pathetic dog, right, in this show, that he is easily cowed and defeated by the Forsaken, and he has to be saved on 3 separate times, otherwise he would have died.
It makes you wonder what the big deal about the dragon is, because
he's so useless.
He can't do anything. He's got a heron mark blade that he doesn't fight with.
Yeah.
He's constantly being shielded. And still doesn't fight with a sword even when shielded, because it's not physically shielded. He's just cut off from the source.
Yes.
And he just kind of stands there and goes, oh dear.
And it's so insulting on so many levels of what they did. And then there is just bafflingly dumb things that happen, and you're like Matt's dagger is now a lightsaber? What?
I just felt through this whole episode that it just felt that the writers kind of read summaries of the books and sort of looked at maybe a little bit of fan art, if you're lucky, and kind of went, we can make a story out of this, but didn't actually read the books.
But not the story. There's they kind of start, but then the conclusion is, we can make our story with our messages. It needs to be, like Rafe Judkins, he said from the very beginning, this is going to be a feminist show. And this is the result, a show that belittles and make the male characters look like absolute wet sag, cowardly, pathetic losers, right? And this is the result. It is not a show that is designed to see men and women working together on an equal playing field where they need to work together to succeed, because that's what the books were. And so to make the books more feminist than that, well, then the mask off. It's actually not about equality. It's about supremacy and power, all right? It's about, like, they think women have been poorly depicted in media for so many years, so now it's time for men to be poorly depicted in media and show them as weak and them as needing to be saved and everything like that. And that's a false narrative in and of itself, because, like, there's been action female heroes for ages, and guys and girls have both loved these characters and stuff. It's the whole victim narrative. And in terms of the face-off moment about the ideology and philosophy of this show, they just come out and say it. And this is why the show is so, like, vile. Moraine, she says, I would happily let 1,000 innocent people die to save the dragon. So I can't remember if Moraine let any innocent person die to protect Rand in the books. Certainly none come to mind, but that's not what the show version of Moraine is saying. In the show, she's literally saying that she'd be willing to murder 1,000 innocent people to protect Rand. Book Moraine did do some morally grey things, but that's a much more complex thing in regards to the necessity of war and the innocents that are killed in the process, to actively murdering innocent people to achieve an end goal.
What if those ships are full of innocent people? What if it's not Rand?
I will let 1,000 innocent people die if there's even a chance that he will live.
And I was just, what? Like that is actually such got so.
And then she doesn't just let people die. She breaks the oaths and kills people.
Yes, she does. Like, by the way, they broke the oaths multiple times. Like Suan, when she goes in and she knocks Lan aside, that's using the power as a weapon when your life isn't threatened. Suan, that was in the last episode. In this episode, people might justify it. No, Moraine, their life was in danger because if Rand dies, everyone dies and everything like that. It's like, that's not how the power works, or the oaths work.
It's the immediate life of her over water. They were in no danger from those people on the ships.
Yes, exactly. And that line, that happily, let 1,000 people die, right? That is laced with, that is such a vile, because what that is saying the ends justify the means. It is permissible to perform great evil to achieve certain goals. And what that means is that Moraine and anyone who also follows this philosophy are willing to be as evil as the evil they're trying to destroy. That's why this is such a vile, wrong philosophy. But this is mask off, blatant in the show, and it reflects the morality of the people making it, because that's what they believe. They will take a beloved book series, right, and destroy a man's legacy, something that everyone loves, because the ends justify the means. What's the ends? Well, it's power. Okay, it's that, they perceive that there's been oppression in the past, and so now, not equality, they want to oppress and do all the bad things that they perceive had been done to one group onto the other group. And it's men and women in this instance, right? And so that's what they're doing, and that's the philosophy, like, in practice in the Wheel of Time adaptation TV show, and it is what they believe as Moraine just flat out spits it. And the show is promoting that as a correct and moral standard. That's the heroes. I've already criticized Moraine multiple times of being a vile, evil person. Well, now she has acknowledged and admitted it flat, blatantly. And so this philosophy, ends justify the means. It's also the collectivist philosophy that the welfare of the collective is more important than the lives of the people that you need to sacrifice to protect the group. Okay, that's the communist philosophy. That, comrade, you must support all the thing. Everyone must be equal, and we will murder, steal, and destroy, and commit all manner of atrocities for the sake of the end goal. That's the philosophy that this show is founded and built on, right? That's how vile and disgusting it is, and that's the philosophy of the people making it. The ends justify the means, murder innocent people for the sake of the goal, okay? And I'm so angry that they have the gall and vileness to take someone's work that believed and promoted the opposite thing, and they have just done a steaming crap on something that was pure and wholesome, right? And use that name, The Wheel of Time, and Robert Jordan's legacy to promote something so disgusting, Okay? Truly immoral crap. That's what people, and by the way, the whole purpose, the framing of shows like this, where the show is trying to show you with the music and that these are the heroes, these are the protagonists, you should be on their side, right? And then they reflect behaviors and philosophies like that. They want that to be imprinted subtly and subconsciously onto the viewer. So then they're like, yeah, I can kind of see that Moraine had a justified point. Now, Moraine obviously needed to defeat the Seanchan because they were obviously evil and on the ships. And it's Len that says there might be innocents on the ships. Like, Len, look, those are Seanchan warships, okay? They're attacking innocent people. No. This is war. And so the answer that Moraine should have said is like, no. Those are the enemy trying to kill all the innocents in the town, and we have to protect them.
And she still shouldn't have been able to do it.
She still shouldn't be able to do it, but still, that's a moral standard that justifies her trying to attack those ships. But then she openly acknowledges, even though it's false, that there might be innocent people on the ships, and then she goes, but that's okay. It's okay to kill innocent people because the ends justify the means. All right? And so this episode is, for me, like the most mask-off, blatant desecration of the Wheel of Time show that has been made thus far. It is disgusting. And I'm livid about it. Sorry to... I got a little animated there.
I got a couple of words in.
Yeah.
So I was taking scene by scene jump notes so that we could be able to keep track.
Yeah.
Eventually I gave up after 42 scene jumps to different characters.
Yeah, there's a lot of just switching, and even for tiny little things, because it's them desperately trying to hold things together, and they think
they're trying to tie them all in together to be in the same place, to eventually be working together, kind of. And so they just jump around to try to move them quickly towards those end goals.
Yes, and they do it very poorly and inefficiently. And I really get the impression that I think the writers believe that they're really clever. Like the whole how Matt's dagger played out, and they're completely oblivious to how stupid it is that Matt's dagger is now a lightsaber because reasons. It never was before, but suddenly it is. And Matt was disconnected from the dagger, and now he knows how to control the dagger without touching it. So there's no link, but now he can control it and tell it to do fire, death, stabbing now for some reason.
Right, and they didn't even show that he was locked in the room in the first place, just that he was in the room. There was no showing that the door was locked.
Yeah. And we'll get to Padan Fain willingly gives up the dagger. Bull freaking crap, right? And then so Matt gets the dagger, and they think it'll be so clever how this plays out, and he ends up, throwing the staff, and he does end up stabbing Rand, and they think it's really clever that, and Rand is going to get his wound in his side that can't be healed from the dagger now, and not from his grand epic battle with the Forsaken in the sky, right? And they think, look how we're rewriting it, but making the connections and making key points in the story still happen, but in a different way. Aren't we clever? It's no. That's really basic, and the execution is done so dumb that, one, it's nowhere near as good as the book. So we know why you're changing it, because it means you can fit in all your other activist kind of talking points, right? And then it's not, so there's that. It's not as enjoyable. And then you fail on the execution because when Matt throws the javelin, right? He's not actually, the Forsaken he's on an angle. They try and play it that he was aiming for the Forsaken, but it was an illusion and goes through the Forsaken and hits Rand, but he was on the wrong angle for that to happen. But they think they're so clever. And not just that, on multiple levels, right? That Moraine was just thrown out on the seashore because Lanfear could predict the future. That's exactly what would happen, that Rand would end up getting shielded by the Seanchan, and suddenly they can shield at a massive distance, and Moraine can cast fireballs at 10 kilometers distance at least, or something like that. It's bull friggin' crap. And they are so inconsistent with their power levels and what the magic can do, and contradictory and all that stuff. And how strong is Egwene? She can hold her own against a bloody Forsaken, but before she just got knocked out like a swatted fly. But then when she's already injured, and usually when you get severely injured, your brain is too taxed to be able to. But no, sorry. How referencing material from the book and how the magic works, obviously, because they don't give a crap about it. They do whatever the hell they want, and then they contradict themselves constantly. We saw this in the last episode, that they set up things, contradict them entirely. Oh my gosh, this episode. But let's get to the scene-by-scene breakdown. Was there any other broad kind of observations you want to share, my dear?
I'm sure that'll occur to me.
Yeah. So the episode begins with a flashback of Chainmail getting trapped away. Now, I couldn't remember in the books if it was the dragon that actually sealed the Forsaken.
So I believe it was Dragon and the companions that sealed the Forsaken and the Dark One.
See, the way that I kind of remember it, and I haven't reread this part to confirm it, that they specifically needed to seal the boar, which was there was a boar into the Dark One, where the Dark One dwelt, and his influence was spewing out about to destroy everyone, and so they had to seal the boar, and the Forsaken got trapped inside that seal. But then they made individual seals for the Dark One's prison. They weren't for the Forsaken. The Forsaken were just kind of trapped part of the and maybe it was something like, by sealing the Dark One, the Forsaken, because they're so connected with him in power, they got sucked into it and stuff like that. I never pictured it being done this way.
Regardless, this kind of feels a little bit like Krypton, sending people to the other dimension, and it kind of found like that kind of sentence deal.
Well,
but the thing that I found was a bit weird in this scene was I don't remember Chainmail hating life and not wanting to be alive. And that seems to be a thing they keep rehashing, is that Chainmail doesn't actually want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what his deal with the Dark One is that would make him want to follow him if he can just, surrender to the light and get killed.
The promise of the Dark One was immortality and eternal power and glory, right?
And he's like, I just don't want to live. I'm done.
Yeah. And so the reason why I was talking about how the Forsaken were originally trapped is because here it shows is that Chainmail completely at Luz Theron's mercy. I was like, all right, dude, just kill him. This is one of the most evil guys. He betrayed you, has done the most evil atrocities. Just kill him.
And then they're like, oh, I don't want to do this again in the next life, because then if I kill you, then you'll come back.
Yeah, it's just...
But it's a new life and they can deal with it.
Yeah, and so...
But he's just like, I'm just going to lock you away so no version of me ever has to deal with you again.
Well, that's literally ensuring that they do have to deal with him in the future because you're not killing him. You know the way to...
And he's got all the same memories instead of having to restart like everybody else.
Are they trying to say that, the Forsaken are immortal and you can't kill him? Well, that's another arbitrary bullcrap thing to show because that wasn't the stake in the books. You could kill a Forsaken. One literally dies by someone who can't channel snapping their neck, okay? And so, Forsaken can just be killed, right? But in the show... they say that the Dark One granted Lanfear immortality. And they're saying, well, that's why Chainmail is getting locked away because they can't kill him because he just keeps regenerating or whatnot. But then he is killed by Rand, who has the same powers as Luz Theron, and is not even as powerful as Luz Theron. So it's all contradictory nonsense. Anyway.
Yes.
So... the show has been emphasizing more and more, especially in this season, that this isn't about the male characters, the three Ta'veren, who are the three main characters of the book series. They're side characters here, right?
Right.
And just recontextualize this opening because the weave is weaving women. And it's all about the women and the Aes Sedai. And it's just like a message that, this show is about, women, female power, dominating men and controlling them and making like the message is there, basically. When you'd think like the Wheel of Time, the story of the Wheel of Time is about Rand, the Dragon Reborn, the savior of the world, and how he can bear and cope and all that thing. And so you'd think if you were making like an intro that contextualized...
that maybe there'd at least be a dragon in it?
Conceptualized, yes. The Wheel of Time. Wouldn't the dragon be somewhere involved in this? Somewhere?
Apparently not. He's inconsequential and useless, apparently.
He really is. Like this episode, oh my God, he means nothing. You could have taken him out, and Egwene would have been saved still. The Shad probably would have been defeated. And, oh gosh, he is so pointless and useless. He's literally dragged there without his volition, the Forsaken taking him there and pushing him onto the tower to proclaim himself. And in actual fact, it's Moraine that proclaims him, not the pattern just doing it.
Right.
It's them forcing him to be the savior. And I know the pattern kind of was doing it anyway.
Beyond me.
Oh no, it's useless. But at least before it was like the pattern, and it was still based on Rand. He wanted to save Well, he wanted to save Matt, really, get the dagger, get the horn. That's why he originally went to Falmer. And then he sees Egwene and is like, oh, Egwene needs to be saved, right?
And he's not even the one that saved her in the book.
Well, exactly.
Nynaeve
It was
and
Nynaeve.
Elaine do it.
And then they have Nynaeve and Elaine
there for no reason because they didn't even help her.
going on their way to supposed to save her. And instead, separate, like different to the book, Elaine just gets shot by an arrow and they just end up Nynaeve crying, not able to
And
heal
they go,
her.
oh, she's on the tower. We've got to go there.
And Egwene saving herself because Egwene is amazing, guys. She's unbreakable, right? It was so freaking predictable. Like, I actually told you before it happened to my wife, I just let her, she's going to save herself. It's so obvious. Like, that's like, because she's so amazing, right? And I mean, that would reflect that, like, this is what they believe, which is so wrong, that women needing to be helped by other people, especially men, that means that they're showing women being weak and they are not empowered to save themselves. And that's such a toxic, vile thing. And
which is just bizarre because the circumstances she's in, she's held captive magically.
Yes.
There's a whole army behind them. Like, she should need help.
yes, and in the book she's saved by other women. Right?
Yeah.
And they have the book like showing that they capture the Idam and the Suldam and everything. So they do that in the show because that's what the book. But in the book, they take him, they sneak in, and then they actually
walk out with her.
And they take off the collar of Egwene in the book. And Egwene, as soon as she takes it off, her Suldam walks in, she picks up that jug and smashes it across the face. Right? I was expecting that because they had an entire episode dedicated to the jug. Shame on me for ever expecting the writers to do something clever and pay off a setup that they've done, because they had a whole episode devoted to the jug. That would make sense now with the way Egwene is saved, because as soon as the collar's off, she picks up that jug, smashes her across the face in the books. It's right there. He set it up. But then they completely go left for it because no, Egwene needs to save herself.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time on setups that didn't pay off.
Yes.
Including like comments and stuff with Inkta.
Yes, yeah, like, we'll get to Inkta because I have a line about
You have a
him.
rant about that too, yeah. All right, we're up to White Cloaks.
Yeah, White
And
Cloaks.
this is a part where you actually think, hey, maybe the White Cloaks aren't so bad in this.
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? This whole city called out for all the nations,
Mm-hmm.
the Aes Sedai, everybody to come in and help, and the only ones that came were the White Cloaks.
Yeah.
That's the version in this where that's not accurate to the books. But in this, they're like, we need to go help them. We are severely outnumbered, but it's the right thing to do, and we need to hold up what's right. And you're like, go you.
Yeah, they're showing that there are some good people in the White Cloaks. But then they decide to have an urban warfare in a city where multiple civilians get caught in the crossfire and probably die. Also, this is their army, right? And then later on, they attack the city and they have like 3 massive trebuchets, and it's like...
I don't even know where those trebuchets came from.
Yeah, they just come out of nowhere. This is the army that they show, and it's like, this
Hidden
isn't
in the
even an
trees.
army. This is
and
what
they're
probably...
trying to show that, you can't really tell how many there are because they're hidden.
Looks like 200 people at most, basically. I mean... So, yeah. But anyway, there's the exchange between the White Cloaks, the dad.
Dane yep.
And now we're back to Rand, Moraine, and Lan, with Lanfear traveling through the ways. And I already was spitting chips at the end of last episode how dumb this was. It's like...
Let's go follow the Forsaken into the ways.
And Lanfear, they showed she can travel. And then in this episode, they showed not only did she actually travel... but she actually takes Rand with her, meaning she could have done that from the very beginning. And the excuse that she said is that there was dead weight. What was it? So
And she could have just left them in Tavalon, but she didn't.
Yeah.
She brought them through the ways, threw them out of the ways,
all the way through the ways. Like it would have
sent
taken a
them
day.
to Felma anyway.
Yes,
Took them another way to Felma from the ways.
traveling.
Traveling through the ways.
And I
because
think
you
that
can't travel from the ways.
Yeah,
I don't
like
believe.
in the books, I don't
Because
think
it's
you
a
can.
different realm.
When you're in the ways, you're like in another dimension, and so you
Yes.
can't travel into the ways.
So she would have
or
had to
out
have
of the
left
ways.
the waves to travel.
Yeah, but
But she didn't.
They don't, like, they haven't read the books, so they don't care about the books. They don't care about the lore, and really means they're just making up whatever bullcrap that they want. And so now the bullcrap is, for some arbitrary reason, Lanfear can't travel with more than 2 people. She says, right?
Or she just
can't
doesn't care
take
about
all that dead weight with us.
Or she just doesn't want them along, basically. But she brought them in the first place.
Exactly, and it's so stupid. And I'm like, what?
Why?
So dumb. And I mentioned last time maybe she didn't want to show Moraine how traveling works because she can see the weaves, but I've actually forgot they can invert weaves so people can't see them when they do it. And so Lanfear can still travel in front of other Aes Sedai and they won't be able to see spit.
Exactly.
And so Lanfear, why are you taking it through the ways? It takes much longer. You risk much in Shin, and it shows that you're willing to travel it. Do you see how stupid this show is? Like it's astronomically dumb. Oh my
Their
gosh.
explanations never make sense for what they're doing.
Yeah. And the waygate that she spits him out of is just like sitting in the middle of the ocean. It's just like
it's just on a beach.
Yeah. And I mean, waygates are in the books were like forgotten and hidden and were like either half crumbling or part of overgrown.
They were made by the male Aes Sedai for the Ogier. And they were grown. Yeah. And so they were often near a grove.
Yes.
A grove is not on a beach.
Yep. So it looked really out of place, and I don't like the way the waygates look either. Oh my gosh. So yeah, just thrown out.
Yep.
And then the Lanfear is like, there are multiple ways to travel and through the ways. And then she breaks the law. Travel as they disappear outside of Nitrogen. The Aiel, they're not really concerned about hiding themselves here. They're just walking up to a city, just like out in the open.
Yeah, the Aiel were never at Falmer. This is a new thing anyway.
Well,
and I suppose everybody else in the book, they walked up to the city and they were let in, and that was fine. Mm-hmm. They were just let through the gates as long as they said that they'd sworn the oaths.
I reckon there should be way more guards in front of the main entrance gate there. But just on the note, Falmer is on the other side of the world where the Aiel come from. Falmer is on the seashore here. You cross their known world on the map, and you see these massive line of mountains, and past the mountains, the Aiel waste. In the book, and the Aiel barely reach past the river that Tarvolin is on, but to travel across the entire world and just be hanging around near Falmer is just a very massive break from the lore and canon as to where they are. So, conversation between Lanfear and the other Forsaken guy, and she says she balances him. That the reason why he released her, the one who was most willing to betray him and did betraying him and leading to his death, wasn't by, Rand's own volition that he subverts Ishamael's plans. No, it's all Lanfear's manipulation machinations that caused this to happen, which is also bullcrap, because Lanfear is now really helping out Rand. She wants Rand to succeed.
It was a very nonsense conversation. It didn't make, they were all just lying anyway.
Yeah, and... I am going through book 4 at the moment, and book 4 is where Selene reveals herself as Lanfear to Rand. And Rand, his response is like, "You're an evil Forsaken, holy crap, get away from him," essentially. Oh my gosh. But anyway, so the fact that they butchered her character, and now she's just, she wants to help Rand, I guess, and have Rand love her and whatever. Oh my gosh. So this... I was just thinking, what are they trying? I know what they're trying to say, and it's really dumb. So they have
They've got children white cloaks. Making
smoke, and there's not a lot of them. There is
maybe 6?
5. We see 5, and they have. I think you see them in the Catholic Church where they have smoke little kind of things that they swing, but they're trying to imply that those little smoke things is creating
enough
such an dense fog that it would hide an approaching army.
But the kids don't need face masks or anything.
Yeah, this is so stupid. And so they're trying to oh look, there's so much fog and smoke, we can't see anything behind them. And it's you have guard towers and also a massive tower in the city that can see leagues, all right? If anything, even if this were the bullcrap that these children are making a smoke cloud large enough to mask an army, right? Wouldn't it be really suspicious to see this moving smoke cloud approach this?
You would think so, yes. Because there is a fog that develops in the book, but it happens once the horn's blown.
Once the horn is blown, yes.
And it's associated with that, and they come in and out of the fog, and that make sense.
When things hit the fan in the books, in book 2, the White Cloaks assemble an army on the outside. The Shonchan see it because, of course, you freaking see an approaching army. That's why you have watchtowers and stuff. And they start to assemble their army on the outside. And you see this massive army, right? And that's why they need the Horn of Valir blown, because it's the only way they can fight the Shonchan army, which has it's huge, right? Even though it's actually not as big as their main army. This is just more an expeditionary force, but still thousands and thousands of soldiers, right? Oh, this episode is a pathetic wet fart compared to what is actually in the books. Like when the horn is blown in the books, there's heaps of heroes and they are crazy powerful. Like Brigitte is shooting arrows that blow apart Shonchan ships, right? In this show, it's like, what, maybe 8, 10
Yeah, it's 8 out of 10. I think there was supposed to be only about 30 or so. So it wasn't huge, but they were super powerful.
Super powerful. So anyway, back to this. This is just like ridiculous. And by the way, you're sending children in front of a charging army and it's horses, and you're showing that you can't see 10 meters in front. So the children are dead. They'll be trampled. Like, it is so nonsense on so many levels. And it's like, what? Why did you so clearly the person who chose to do this has no idea about medieval warfare, even just logic about, do you see how stupid this thing, you can't create a cloud from little smoke things like that would mask an army. And if you did, it would only be a small localized area. They could see leagues around this city. There's no cultivated, it's just desert. By the way, I don't know how they support this city and I have farmland or anything like that, because it's just wasteland all around the city, just like the other city they had in their finale of season 1. But anyway, so they could see forever. And they would absolutely see a freaking Prussian army, especially setting up trebuchets. Trebuchets later on are just set up out of the blue. They're just there. And then, they charge, right? And then they're on horseback. So they all just magically appear out of this. Look how insanely big this fog is. And they try to say that 5 kids with little smoke things made this. Like, piss off. The show expects the audience to be stupid. It relies on people not using critical thinking to be able to even enjoy the show. But as soon as you even pay attention to the slides, you see this is nonsense. No. And people should be insulted that the show relies on stupidity or a lack of awareness to pay attention critically for people to miss such astoundingly dumb things like this. Right? And then they take their horses into the city. It's like, hey, do you understand cavalry warfare at all? Taking cavalry into a close quarters city with narrow streets and everything like that undermines their use entirely. And funnily enough, after this, we don't see a single horse. All the White Cloaks are fighting on foot. So what? You just left your horses to be butchered and slaughtered?
I guess.
It's so astoundingly stupid. Oh my gosh. And then, by the way, they're charging and have to move into a narrow neck to just fit through this gate. Oh gosh, it's dumb on so many levels. All right, so now we're with
Egwene now?
No, Elaine and
Nynaeve.
Nynaeve is dressed like Suldam, and it's pointless. This whole arc that they have to capture her and everything like that leads nowhere. Elaine ends up getting shot in the leg, and they just sit around crying.
Basically,
it achieves nothing.
They came to the rescue in the book. They were awesome. Yes. They learned to work together. They had Min there. They used all this planning, and they did it. And they just kind of become useless as well.
Yeah, I literally they have the setup. This is the setup, and it's the same setup in the book, and then they decide to just run it off a cliff and let it lead nowhere. And because it'd be so problematic if Egwene be saved. Wouldn't it be empowering if Egwene saves herself, right?
I don't even know why you would stop women from saving women at this stage, because it was such a great part of the book.
Because it's more empowering for a woman to save herself. Just like she did when she was Egwene tied up by the White Cloaks, and she magically teleports out of her binding, the rope that's literally out of her. No explanation how she escapes the rope. She just teleports out of it and stabs Volder. And it's that, but enhanced to 1150 in this episode. And so this is all pointless. It achieves nothing. And then the city's under attack. The Suldam's like, Egwene, you must help me. And, the whole episode of Egwene, showing that Egwene is broken in the Jug episode leads nowhere, because she is completely defiant, and all of that was just bullcrap. She's never broken. She's unbreakable, remember? And so threatened to cut out her tongue if she doesn't obey, and then she's taken. After the conversation that Chainmail had with Lanfear, he explains that that Lanfear will betray him. He now knows. He just knows.
But not only in this scene with Egwene, the Suldam now decides to teach her a lesson. She's cutting her hair.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the hair cutting thing. And it was like, it's shown as this
Big punishment.
horrifying, vile, like the torture and everything. That was just like first level. Cutting your hair. That's the ultimate punishment.
It was very bizarre. She hadn't even shown any particular attachment to her hair apart from braiding.
Exactly. But this is taking away a woman's freedom and autonomy, and it is also forcing a change on her body that she is not choosing of herself. And so this is so violating having her hair cut. Can't you see? No, I can't either. But that's what I think the activist who made this would be thinking about. And look at her reaction. She's like devastated. Oh, my hair! You've been tortured. This would have been like, oh, is that all? Okay.
Okay, I'll take it.
And by the way, for the amount of defiance that Egwene has been showing, it's like she in the books, if she did any type of defiance like this, she would be tortured in the extreme, and until she apologizes and promises to never do it again, she'll be a good little Damani and stuff, right? Okay, so now scene with Forsaken. He knows Lanfear's going to betray him all of a sudden, and now he does want Rand dead. And he says something so astronomically dumb here, because Padan Fain offers to kill Rand, and he basically says, "No, I don't need to." It's sort of like there's Rand is going to be killed by the prophecy that basically Min saw. Let me just.
So he's saying, "I want to try to turn him to the dark, and if he doesn't, then there's already a prophecy handling it." Yeah,
and it's like that. By that very like stupidity, and it's astronomically stupid. They both have control. If he could kill Rand any time, he knows Rand is in the city. He could easily fight him and just blast Rand dead. He wants Rand dead, but no, he's like, I am going to put Rand. And this reminds me of a joke in Austin Powers movie, into an easily escapable situation involving an overly dramatic and elaborate death. And so instead of just killing Rand, he's gonna project an illusion in front of Rand to lure Mat in to try and kill him, which will then get the attack to kill Rand instead. That's his master plan. That's how he decides to get to kill Rand instead of just blasting him. It's so stupid.
Yes, because Mat could have been killed at any point before that anyway, because he was facing a whole lot of sunshine.
Yeah.
And only the horn saved him.
Yeah.
And so he didn't know about that.
And does he know that Min's visions cannot be subverted or anything like that?
They haven't made that clear in this.
Yeah.
It's not an established law in this that that's going to happen.
Yeah. He also says here, which is like that the Great Lord has granted Lanfear eternal life, and that's how she healed her throat. And it's just like eternal life was the end reward for their service. They were all working towards that. And so the evil Great Lord has given Lanfear eternal life already. And by the way, she can also channel the true power. Did you see that? Where when she was, before she was slit throat, not killed because she could survive death by Moraine, her eyes had the stars, and that's the telltale sign of channeling the true power, not the one power, which is the Dark One's own power. And she's supposed to only get that ability, or someone, I think, was it Lanfear that gets that ability? I forget who gets it, but it's only way later that anyone gets that ability. But they have that in the show because they have no reason. They're just bullcrapping at this point. And so another bullcrap thing is Lanfear is just immortal because reasons, which subverts one of the primary motivators that the Forsaken is serving the Dark One. Sure, whatever. And
their motivations seem to be a bit bizarre in this.
Yeah, and his motivation, he just wants everything to end.
Yeah, and he blames Lews Therin for him turning, but doesn't want to live. But yeah, it just kind of goes in these weird circles of why are you doing what you're doing? It makes no sense.
Is he immortal? And is he cursed to not die and he wants to die? And the only one that can kill him is Rand because some weird arbitrary reason. Rand isn't as powerful as Lews Therin was, and Lews Therin couldn't kill him. Well, he didn't kill him. He tried. That's so stupid. Just show us. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, Paran Fane, right? Again, they don't care about the books. This is not an adaptation of the books. This is a desecration of something that, the books.
Fane is supposed to be well and truly loopy, crazy, insane evil by now.
And the dagger is his, other half. It possesses his soul, right?
Yes.
He would never in a million years give up the
Just
dagger.
hand it over.
Yeah, but here, he's like, here's
Here
the
you
dagger.
go.
And then he leaves and just leaves the dagger there. And I'm just like... And by the way, is he doing it because Chainmail knows that if Matt has the dagger, he'll use the dagger to kill Rand because now Chainmail wants to kill Rand. But if you want to, just do it yourself, you idiot. It's so, it really is the Austin Powers thing. I'm not sure if you've ever seen Austin Powers.
No.
But his son is like, if you want to kill him, give me a gun, I'll kill him now. And it's like, no, I'll put him in an overly elaborate situation that involves an easily escapable situation that involves an overly elaborate exotic death. It's that level bad writing, right?
Yes.
That has been memed and clowned on for years. And so instead of just them killing him, he has the power to do it. No, we're going to leave the dagger that Paran Fane would never let go, and we're going to gamble on the fact that Matt will take the dagger with him and inadvertently unlock its power because now it's a lightsaber, and then use it to kill the Forsaken, which will end up killing Rand. It's so dumb! Okay, so the Suldam, who is now locked as a Damani, is crying. And again, this leads nowhere. All of this leads nowhere. It just shows that Nynaeve is willing to torture a bit. I do like they're showing Elaine is, not feeling good about the whole torture kind of thing. Okay, so Rand, this is like a really brief scene. And at least they have a scene that shows Rand see that Egwene is captured. But what throws me here is... in the books, Egwene still looks like Egwene. This adaptation, they have the Damani wear makeup, hair different, things that are covering part of their face, like with pacifiers.
Right. Like in the first few seconds, I had to figure out which one was Egwene.
Exactly. He sees these parts would he be able to recognize Egwene? Like this,
It's
by the
from a
way,
distance.
the camera is much closer. Rand isn't this close. And heavy makeup, different haircut, thing in her mouth. I don't think you would recognize her at this distance. So let's see if they actually show the distance perspective of Red. So that's about as far. Can you make out any details in the face here? You see and it's a side profile, not even front on. I'm like, bullcrap, he recognizes Egwene. Anyway. What would have worked, and it's so easy, is if Egwene does something that shows rebellion and that her Damani's, because her Damani, because Egwene!
Her
What
Suldam,
do you, sorry,
yes.
her Suldam, says Egwene, if you do not, and actually speaks. And then but anyway, that's what I mean about failing on execution. That they try and set up these things that are clever and they're trying to explain things, and then how they show it, it's just nonsense. And then they try and tell you that, they try and convince you that no, this definitely was close enough for Rand to recognize. It was don't tell me to deny my lying eyes.
Well, no, in the book, Rand does see Egwene from a high height to a courtyard from quite a distance away where details aren't clear, and he's convinced that it's Egwene, and they're like, are you sure? It can't be Egwene. She's in the tower. And so it's kind of like that, but he's a lot closer in this.
But haircut, makeup, and the books, she still looked like Egwene. To me, Egwene is almost wearing a disguise by the amount of changes she has, and side profile. It's harder to recognize people on a side profile compared to front on.
Well, it's true, but in the books, he does do it from a distance, and it's more he feels and he knows inside himself that it's Egwene. So,
I guess, okay.
So it does kind of do that in the books.
Back to Matt and Paran Fane leaving the dagger. I was just like, what? Okay, so just back on the thing that I was talking about, how the show tells you to disbelieve your lying eyes and it tells you to convince something else, right? Happens here in one of the Moraine scenes.
What, apart from her jacket disappearing?
Oh yeah, you're right. She has a blue coat here,
on here,
and then later on she doesn't.
I spent half the time trying to figure out where it was, and I couldn't figure it out. So I guess she just littered it on the beach or something.
So they're trying to say that Moraine can't lie, and that when she said we were never equals, that she was saying that Lan was always better than her. And this is what I mean about the show trying to tell you something which is flat out contradicting what they have shown you. Moraine has been a stuck-up, vile, evil wench the whole time that has treated Lan like dog crap, right?
Never let him into her confidence, never trusted him,
Yeah.
never relied on him more than she had to, which is completely different to the Moraine in the books.
Yeah. And then the show is trying to tell us by Moraine's words is like, I always believed you were better than me. And I'm like, shut up. Stop lying to me. We can see what you have shown. And so, again, it's the incompetence of the writers, and they're trying to gaslight you that, aren't we clever? Isn't this a moving moment that Moraine believed this? No. You were very clear about what Moraine actually thinks about Lan by her actions. Also, by the way, shielding breaks the Waters bond all of a sudden.
Well, something does, because all of a sudden the bond is no longer there, and he's like, bring it back. We're like, hold on, where did it go? It had been masked. They had covered that when he was talking to the other Waters, and now she's not shielded anymore, and suddenly they don't have a bond at all.
See, I thought Lan was able to figure out that Moraine was shielded in part because he wasn't. Well, no, because even that was my criticism. He would have been able to figure out if the bond was alive or broken or not. He should have been able to figure that out. And the show is, and we criticized it then because we thought the bond was still in place, and he should have been able to know that it was still in place because he hasn't the death bloodlust.
Yeah, and so we figured if it's not there, then he would have been going on a war hunt and chasing people down and things and being almost suicidal with rage. But instead, he's just like, can you just give it back now?
But what this also confirms is that the water bond was broken, and he didn't go on a suicidal blood rage. Yes. So it doesn't work either way, because either way they've screwed it up so much and by the way, it's in the books, but they don't care about the books. I mean, they're just doing whatever the hell they want. This is another example of just doing whatever the hell they want. Suddenly, because Moraine was shielded, the water bond was broken for reasons. No, they don't explain how, why, or what, but they try and have a moving moment.
All that's happened so far is that she's evidenced over and over again how little she wants him around.
Yeah.
And he's like, take me back. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to follow her? You don't even know that she's not a dark friend because all she does are things that hurt other people.
Yes. And she even says, like,
And walks through the Waygate with a Forsaken. For all he knows, she's the dark friend.
Let 1,000 innocent people die. That's Moraine's philosophy, for the sake of what she perceives as the greater good. Vile wench. But yeah, so they're trying to have the music and their camera work. Isn't this is moving? This is such an important, a moving emotional scene. The bond being renewed, and Lan and Moraine coming together again. And just like, you haven't earned this. You're trying to convince the audience that this has been, this is a valid moment for an emotional payoff, and bullcrap it is. Not even close. And so when they try and pose at having these grand kind of emotional payoff moments, it just comes off as fake, vapid, hollow, try-hard nonsense. You haven't earned this at all. In fact, I resent you trying to convince me I have. Don't friggin' gaslight me, because no, Moraine and Lan, their relationship is awful. She hates Lan. She's treating him like dirt. There's no reason he should be returning. And so it's just complete crap. And then they almost kiss as well. All right, back in the city, they come across they come across not only Inktar, but Loyal.
Yes.
And there was something that was really, really difficult to achieve. In fact, part of half of the entire season was built up in the pursuit of this item, the horn. All right, so we got to get the horn. It's going to be really, really difficult. We got to get the horn. Scene cuts, and Loyal has the horn. They didn't even Loyal and Inktar.
No Ta'Veren involved.
Magically have the horn. And they don't even show how.
Some lady from Kyrian helped us. What?
Celine Lanfear helped us. So Lanfear just gave him the horn.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like, again, setups and payoffs. They have no idea how to handle this. The entire season, the whole arc that Perrin was on and Inktar they set up in the beginning, big thing to get the Horn of Valir.
So what's the name of book 2, Shad?
It's called The Great Hunt, my dear.
What could they be hunting?
Yeah, the entire book plot is about the hunt for the horn.
Really?
Yeah.
And they just walked in and got given it?
But not even, no, it's just scene cut. They appear and have it.
Yes.
We're not shown, and they just pay it off with the line saying, some lady helped us. It's just I burst out laughing when I was like, what? This show is so nonsense. I couldn't contain my incredulity at the stupidity. Just see there. Now they just have the horn. It's like, again, not understanding payoff, setups and payoffs at all. And like, what a wet fart of a payoff that's supposed to mean something else built up through the whole season. No, we just have it. Lanfear just gave it to us.
And then Loyal was like, oh, we don't need the horn to call those heroes. We have heroes today.
Yeah.
So, no, don't worry about it. We got it anyway.
So the Suldam and Damani go to the high tower to lob fireballs down on the civilians. Because that's the way to drive out the White Cloaks fighting urban warfare in a city. Look at this. Cover everywhere. This is like why it's so bloody fighting in a city, because it's so messy. There's like cover everywhere, really hard to see the enemy. It's like even from this vantage point, can you tell who's a White Cloak and who's not from the, like, you can barely see.
You can barely see.
But they're playing.
But she doesn't like White Cloaks. She can do what she's told here and doesn't have to
that's right.
feel guilty.
Mm-hmm. And their plan, by the way, is to lob fireballs and stuff that explode and kick up all this debris and dust, which will really help with the
visibility, right?
Visibility
Yeah.
issues right there. Show is dumb. So yeah, they try and have it like it's so difficult. She's being told to attack, but then she sees the White Cloaks. She throws a
Like,
fireball.
okay, I don't like them. That's fine. I can kill them.
And whole good girl stuff. Oh my gosh! Again. Ah.
This was one of the more disappointing scenes.
Like, if they're any book reader, I don't know how you could enjoy this show, because the book has such great moments, and there is this really great moment where Rand is tested solely in difficulty, like, because in book 2, he barely can channel. He doesn't really know what he's doing, and he can barely
And he's
embrace it
trying
well.
purposely not to.
Okay, and so then he is confronted by what's his name? Suroth.
Is it Suroth?
I think no. Suroth is the girl.
The girl. It's the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High Lord
Turoth.
Turok. Anyway.
And so Rand always fights with his sword best when he's in the void.
Yes.
But the problem with the void is then he automatically reaches for the power. So he tries not to reach the void, and he faces a blade master who also has a heron mark blade.
And Rand, he doesn't know, like, they haven't set up Rand's training at all. They just had him talking with a supposed blade master, and they don't show him learning the forms or anything like that. He just suddenly, and so the skill, like, progression, the power scaling in the show is nonsense, where they don't actually show the training and development, right? But Rand in the books was trained by Lan and has been tested a couple of times, never fully tested, and then confronted with a blade master who thinks Rand is a blade master because Rand has a heron mark sword. And the fight is desperate and epic, and
So
it's a
he
big
even
testing
has a
moment.
comment here saying, well, let's
Yes.
see what it takes to earn a heron mark blade here.
And by the way, I'm pretty sure the heron is in the wrong position. I thought the heron was closer to the hilt. I did a video on Shadiversity reviewing this sword, right? And I do not remember at all the heron being on the top thing. So it seems like they've
It just needs to be where he can hold it.
Yeah, but it seems like they've changed the position of the heron so it can be seen by, Turoth, whatever. So he can comment that, you have a heron mark sword. And then he's like, let us see what is required to earn the heron on this side of the thing. And he draws his sword. And it's a build up to like have this fight. And in the books, it's a really important moment because also Rand, he starts losing, but then he actually becomes like a solid source because he then embraces the void and becomes more focused on the fight, and he ends up winning. And it's like that's the reveal that Rand is a sword master. That's his great skill, and he follows like Rand. Like even when he has the power, defaults to summoning like a sword.
He summons a sword
He's
and
a
fights
swordsman
with a magic sword.
Yes,
And so the sword is his thing.
but instead of this big epic sword fight, he just like, because he can summon the power whenever he wants, just power and just kills everyone instantly, like just, and they're dead. That's it. That is such an anticlimactic wet fart of a payoff that it's
Look, where's the sword fight? Like he just kills everybody.
Has he even had a sword fight, like a proper sword fight with anyone? I think he's killed some Trollocs maybe. Yeah, he flailed around. I can't remember if he's actually had a proper sword fight.
I can't remember anything except in the first episode or two when there's Trollocs, and I think his dad does all the fighting with the sword.
Because there is another epic sword fight that's supposed to happen at the end of this story.
Yes.
Like a big one. One that happens in the clouds in the sky.
Yeah. There's supposed to be sword fights. Plenty of them in this book. Yeah.
But no. The pattern, proclaiming the dragon and it happening by Rand's own volition in seeking out the Forsaken to fight him and finally saying, this is over, we're going to end this, you and I, taking out the sword and fighting with like a power-wrought sword of the enemy that's like wreathed in black flame and stuff. And in the middle of the fight where it's in this strange cloudy kind of place, it actually plays out in the sky for everyone to see, like giants fighting in the sky. And it's the biggest sign in the world that the dragon is now on Earth. And
so much so that people could recreate his likeness.
Yes, they drew it from what they see.
And it gets sent all throughout the world because hundreds of people have seen his face in the sky and now they don't.
But see, Rand being proclaimed by the pattern as a result of his own choices to seek out and destroy the Forsaken, well, that gives too much agency to the male character. No, he's going to be dragged along like a lost puppy to wherever he needs to go, get absolutely beaten and destroyed, all right? So we're the point where he needs to be saved 3 different times to the point where then he confronts the Forsaken and doesn't even fight. The Forsaken just stands there and lets himself get stabbed and they don't even have a sword fight. And then Moraine proclaims him.
Yeah.
It's like people who are activists that talk about, women in stories need agency and stuff like that. It shows that they're such hypocrites if they don't have an issue with this based on their own standard. I'm holding them to their standard. I actually don't care unless they're subverting and destroying a story for their own agenda. But if this is something that actually they made for themselves, whatever, I think it would be badly written. But it's like, yeah, you can have a story that has mostly featured female characters, mostly featured male characters, and so that there might be some female characters or male characters that don't have agency because it's focused on. I don't actually care. But according to their standard, that it's a sexist thing to have one gender, specifically only women, it seems like, as a terribly sexist thing if they don't have agency in a story, that they're not actually able to do what they want. Now, remember how I said I don't care? I do care when they take someone else's work and absolutely bastardize it for their own agenda. And that's what they're doing here. And so absolutely I care here that they do it. And yeah, they've taken away all his agency to the point where women are actually making his choices for him, to the point where Moraine proclaims him as the dragon completely. And they're basically, he's dragged along, like Lanfear takes him to this area and stuff.
Because the closest that happens in the book is that Moraine keeps putting the dragon banner in his luggage.
Yeah.
and he can't just leave it behind in case somebody sees it. And so he's carting around the dragon banner with him and not wanting to know about it. But eventually just needs to use it.
Yeah, and the books handled it really well, where Rand constantly was making choices, but the pattern was kind of forcing him around. But it was still a result of his choices, like his confrontation with the Forsaken. He chose to do that, and the pattern used that as the opportunity to display it in the sky, proclaiming the dragon. And so he did absolutely have heaps of agency in the book, even though the pattern was warping things to make things play out, even against his will at times, right? Completely robbed of that in the book. In this show adaptation. All right, so Inktar, they try and give him a noble sacrifice, and he just throws himself at some soldiers and gets killed by them eventually. And, set up some payoffs.
So if they had left Inktar alone without a whole lot of the comments that he had made
exactly
through this season,
exactly,
that would be fine. He'd just be another one of the soldiers.
Just another dedicated guy that, had a noble sacrifice. But they literally foreshadow him. This is what happens in the book. Inktar is a dark friend. Yeah, and
he regrets it.
He regrets it, and he has a moment of redemption towards the end, right? In this show adaptation, they foreshadow it. They have Inktar when they're burying the Dark Friends who lets the bad guys into their city, right? He helped out with that. He helped the people into the city. And he says, maybe we don't know. I forget exactly what he said.
Something about they might have had reasons.
They might have had reasons.
Know what they are.
Exactly. And so that's them setting up Inktar being a Dark Friend in this season. And then they completely forget about it. Please pay attention to the amount of times that we're pointing out the setup and then forgotten payoff or failed payoff or contradicted payoff that they're doing in this episode. Like it's
And how often, like, Inkta would make a comment about, you know, it all being about the horn and we need
Yes.
to take it for ourselves and it's this important and it's glory. And, like, there's all these little hints. And then they just like, oh, we'll just let him
we'll
die.
forget about that.
Don't worry about that.
They don't even mention it. And he just dies and
They run away.
that's it.
Yep.
And it's like, you set it up. The show set this up. And you just completely forget about it. It's just the incompetence is oozing. It's unbelievable.
It's supposed to be just before he dies and he admits it and he's like, do you think,
Yes.
you know, doing the right thing at the last can make a difference?
And they could have done it right here. It's like, soldiers are coming, you guys need to get free. And if he just says to them, do you think doing something in could redeem someone? What do you mean? It's like, and they could have even just lifted the lines. And I forget the lines where he says something like, oh, you know, was he aware? It's like, I let them in and something like that. And he admits it. And then it's like, but maybe I could do something in the end. And then it's just that simple. It's just a couple of lines and you would have done it.
Paid off all that they'd foreshadowed and then left.
Moraine, like, did she just take it off and it's hanging from her waist?
That's what I was trying to figure out, but she already had like a tie thing, so maybe.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah, she's not wearing it. And then this is the line where... Oh, no, the line isn't there yet, I think. But they're just wondering why Lanfear dropped them off at that location.
And then she's like, I know where we are now. I'm like, okay.
So Lanfear meets with
Bail Dolman.
Bail Dolman. Wrong beard, by the way. I forgot to point this out.
Yes,
it's supposed to
he's
have
supposed
it's a moustache.
No, it's no mustache.
No,
it's
no
just
moustache.
a
That's
beard.
right. Just a beard
It's a
connected
bare
with
upper lip.
the mutton chops.
Yeah.
Bare upper lip. And it's a distinctive look of... where he's from. And I forget where he's from. Is it Saldia? I just can't
No,
remember.
it's not, but it's somewhere else.
Um,
and it's supposed to be his unique look.
Yeah, so, again, bastardizing the books, Lanfear wants to prevent the other Forsaken ever getting free.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm going to get you some more Queen DR discs and you're going to throw them to the bottom of the ocean. He's like, but that's a fortune. Yes, but you're going to do it and I'll make it worth your while.
And it's like, are you aware that you have shown Lanfear being able to travel? And you tried to say that she couldn't take additional dead weight, but you did show her taking additional person Rand, and I'd say one of those seals are about the size of a person. So you have shown that she can teleport other objects with her, right? And she wants to cast them into the sea. And it's like, Lanfear, you have the power to do that yourself. But then it's like, she needs a boat.
Yeah.
It's like the Forsaken needs a boat to take seals and cast it. This show is dumb. Okay, so yeah, there's that scene. Suroth, she's like, I want the glory, blah, blah, blah. He tells her, gather the stronger Damani that you've kept in reserve because they're going to be used for the thing, and they're the ones that end up shielding Rand.
But not Egwene, apparently, even though she's just
she was like
wiped
super
everybody out.
powerful, yeah.
Yeah. Just every other super powerful Damani.
So Matt, he's like, I'm resisting the dagger. Oh no. But then he's like, I will use a stick to move the dagger so I don't touch it. Then I will tie the dagger to us. Like, this is like an evil, vile, cursed dagger, right? And for some reason, he knows, even though he's never used the dagger this way before, he's never seen the dagger used this way before. We haven't, he somehow knows that the dagger is a lightsaber.
Yeah.
He just knows, it's just, again, one of those, I'm just like, what?
It's a lightsaber spear.
He ties the dagger to the end of a stick, right? And then...
So this is where I feel like they've grabbed Matt fan art and decided, how can we give him his cool spear? And they're like, I know, there's that dagger, right? Let's just stick it on the end of a pole.
He wouldn't, like... If he is separated from the dagger and he knows how evil it is, he would never even let himself be in proximity knowingly, let alone using it, let alone killing people with it. Killing them with like this cursed dagger is one of the most painful, agonizing, evil ways of killing people. And he just goes willy-nilly with it, right? But he hasn't even killed people yet. Like, instead, he's going to lightsaber the lock. You'd need to see it. And so let's see if they'll show it. Yeah, look at this. The dagger just mounts through. Like, holy crap.
It didn't do that when it stabbed Loyal.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it when it stabs anybody else, but it will melt metal.
Yeah, and now they're showing that the dagger, when it stabs people, they get like the evil black ooze and they die. And it's like, Loyal got stabbed with this thing. How did he survive? But then they're so inconsistent with so many things. So now the dagger is like, it's like a death poison dagger, but it's also a lightsaber because Matt needed to get out of the room, and right. I couldn't think of any more creative, inventive way for Matt to figure out how to get out of the room. We'll just make the dagger a lightsaber. Bloody hell. So yeah, like he stabs the guy, and the guy just like gets the black ooze and everything. Pardon Fane runs away like a girl. Egwene is sad that her fireballs is hurting innocent people. She spits the dummy at the person, and this is where I was just like, oh, it's so clear. She's gonna save herself. It's so bloody obvious. All right, so this is when so first of all, Nynaeve, and she is posing as the Shan, and the White Cloaks are just going crazy, killing everyone. They had to walk through the city, and already I'm thinking, oh, you didn't even come across one White Cloak who tried to hurt you. They do get shot later on, but I mean, even that was like seriously, there's a massive battle. They're everywhere. But
then they left them alone because they shot one girl in the leg.
They're fine. And so Egwene, this moment, right? So Egwene is getting her tongue is about to be cut out for her disobedience, right? And then without any kind of forewarning, there's trebuchets out there. We saw a massive kind of like field of the White Cloaks charging and a big view. There were no trebuchets even in close to this, but now there's suddenly massive trebuchets. And by the way,
trebuchets are pretty slow to move.
Mm-hmm. And these are huge ones. These are like werewolf-sized trebuchets, right? And even those werewolf-sized trebuchets, their range would never reach that tower back then. They're basically treating the trebuchets like World War II artillery fire. And I'm not kidding, because when it hits the tower, like, holy crap, it explodes the top level of the tower, killing everyone except Egwene and her Suldam, because they see everyone else is dead, but because they're standing a little further away, they survive. So here are the things, and oh my gosh, do we even get to see the explosion? And look, kaboom! Everyone just goes flying, and multiple hits, and everyone's dead except Egwene, of course, because she's unbreakable. Remember. We see the White Cloaks, they interact with Perrin. And this is where Elaine gets shot in the leg. And then the White Cloaks just kind of stop shooting.
Yeah, and just kind of leave them alone.
Yeah, there's a person that looks like a Suldam right there.
Yeah.
But all right, they just stop. And look, there's fire and everything. Holy crap.
Whatever they had on that tower, it was flammable.
Those trebuchets, dang. This happened in like later Game of Thrones seasons as well. They do not understand how trebuchets are, and they just treat it like not medieval, World War II artillery at this point. It's ridiculous. And so Egwene sees Idam. It's like, oh yeah, we know where that's going. She's gonna put it on them. Perrin runs into Matt, and then there's a fight. So here is all the scene in the build-up for Egwene saving herself. She puts the collar on the Rhaena, the Suldam, because she will save herself. And basically, you can't harm me now. And she uses the power. Like, the rules of the Idam should still be in place.
Yes, so
she shouldn't be able to do this.
And she's supposed to feel it worse.
Yes.
Than Rhaena.
Yes. And so even like they're desperate to have her save herself, and then they completely contradict the rules they established in the show. So
even if they made a weird loop that they felt each other's pain.
There would be a feedback loop that would probably end up killing both of them, even on any pain, right? That's the intuitive way. But even if it was just once a back and forth, right, it would still be a back and forth. And they show this. So I've been talking about how much they've contradicted how the magic system and the laws work in the book universe, because they don't care about it. But then even with the rules that they're establishing in the show, Lanfear is suddenly immortal. Does that mean all the Forsaken are immortal, but not apparently whatever the male Forsaken is because Rand can kill him, but the other, it's so nonsense. They're completely
But
inconsistent.
she also magically got the bracelet on because all we saw was the collar on the ground.
Yeah.
So she found the bracelet somehow.
It seems to
and
just
got it
open
on.
up to women who can channel. That
Yeah, the
seems-
collar,
The
but
collar.
the bracelet. She's got the matching bracelet.
Yeah, that's true. But I think the bracelet just magically appears as well.
Well, they can take it off and hang it up on the wall.
Don't know. Like again, they
Yeah,
don't.
so-
Not even the showrunners know how this works in here, right? And so, Egwene should not be able to channel without her Suldam allowing her. And so this should be impossible. And then if she tried to do it, she would hit a wall, instant pain, fall down, and that pain should technically reflect onto the other person holding it, which would then reflect back and they would kill themselves. But if it was just once, it would reflect back on her and she'd get hurt. But then even if she could channel, she's inflicting pain. Look at her face! She's like getting choked. And yes, they show her, like Egwene, but it's supposed to be what, 1 to 10 times more?
Yeah, it's supposed to be double or 10. I can't
Double,
remember the
like,
exact
but
amount.
way
But
more.
Even double. She should have been turning blue.
Yes. And then they try and show this, like, how strong is Egwene? She's resisting the choking and the pain, which is greater on her than what. And look, this is her. She's just so strong she can resist. It's like, come off it. This is like nonsense.
And just standing there, like, even if she'd been passed out, she was hung on a hook. She could have still choked the chick.
Exactly. And it looks like Ren is it Renna?
Renna.
Is actually dying here.
Yeah.
And so Egwene should be
bracelet comes
feeling
off.
it way more, right? Like all up to this, Egwene should be suffering. She should be unconscious. Like the Damani, they go unconscious before the Suldam, in my understanding, if the pain of the Suldam is getting felt. But anyway, so they contradict their own rules that they say in the show because girl power moment, right? Then the thing comes off. And Egwene kind of just lets her sit there and choke. And only after she passes out does she kind of not kill her. I agree, this could be argued within Egwene's character, but in a lot of instances, the Emmonsfielders are like, I would never treat anyone with the level of evil that you treated me. And they have much higher moral standards.
They do for most of the time. But I do know, like, it was something that, like, she would go into panic attacks if she felt she was going to be captured again by anybody. And she's like, I will not be chained, I will not be locked up, I will not be captured. And so it had a big psychological effect on her. And so it could be argued that she might have done it, especially having just been about to have her tongue cut out.
Or she died. Because they show that it comes off when the Damani dies.
Yes. And so, yeah, but I'm saying, like, she could have been argued that if she'd been to that point and that she got the chance, then perhaps she could have lashed out
I mean,
and killed.
because this looks like death.
This is death, because that's what happened. That's how she got one in the first place, is that one of the Suldam and Damani sets were nearby that had died and it showed it coming off. And so it comes off, so she's dead.
I think so. But they might try and say, oh, she's not really dead. This is Egwene taking it off by command or something like that. Just before she does, like, she's only just gone unconscious. And so they'll try and play like, oh, she didn't really kill him. She just let him torture and die. But no, this looks like actual death.
Yeah.
So Egwene freed herself and then Rand comes in. Right.
I came to rescue, but it looks like you didn't need it.
He actually says that. I came to rescue, but it looks like you didn't need it. Because, again, like, this is why activists make such bad storytellers, because it's the activism and agenda first before good storytelling. Like, when you have, like, a setup that's built up through multiple previous episodes of someone going to save or everything like that, there's an emotional payoff when the hero comes to save him, whether it's a man or a woman. Like, that's the setup and payoff, and the audience is expecting to, yeah. And now it's like, Rand, you didn't even need to be there.
Like, they could have
useless.
forgot the trebuchets. He could have wiped out all the Suldam and Damani. And Egwene's like, let me deal with her. And then stood up to her captor and still had a powerful moment of confronting the person that's been torturing her. But didn't bother doing that.
Yeah.
Can't have Rand helpful, useful.
Oh my gosh. So that's a big letdown. Like, I think they get identified because they hold the box. And I'm like, Loyal, just cover the box. You know, like it's just holding it out in the open. I'm here, Rand says. Is this where he? I'm pretty sure this is where he says. But yeah, I came to save you, but turns out you didn't need it because she's so amazing. Chainmail appears right? And just knocks
Welcome.
Egwene out. Easy as anything, okay? And the power levels are very consistent in the books, okay? Egwene is nowhere near as powerful as Chainmail. In actual fact, the only female in the books that is on the same level as one of the Forsaken is Nynaeve, and specifically, she is as powerful as the weakest Forsaken, Morgideon, which they also contradict in the show because they show Morgideon stronger than Lanfear at the end. And it's like, bull crap, Morgideon's supposed to be weak compared to the other Forsaken. And Nynaeve, who is the most powerful channeler that they've seen in thousands and thousands of years, is only just as strong as one of the Forsaken. So the reason why I'm saying that is because, Egwene is supposed to be weak compared to this guy. She tries, and look, bang! Not even a sweat, right? They can't be consistent. They do not. They contradict themselves all the time. The incompetence on this show is astounding. Because later on, Egwene goes toe to toe with him.
Yep. And so they kind of try to jump back and forth between a hard and a soft magic system, and they just don't know what it is.
Yeah, gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, there was a comment where the Forsaken guy says it was too dangerous to release the other Forsaken, and it's like, Moraine said that Lanfear was the most dangerous Forsaken. But then, no, I released it because we were friends in the past. And it's like, and Lanfear, you were aware that she's likely going to betray you, and she was in love with Lucerne from the beginning. And so you're an idiot for, releasing her, and you get defeated because of your own actions, you moron. Okay, so this was bullcrap. See how far the ships are away from the tower?
They can't even see the people on top. And if they're like, there's a man channeling up there, they wouldn't be able to see the weaves.
Yeah, they couldn't feel and channel
and
either.
They would be able to see, hey man, there's a sign in the sky. How would they not?
Yeah.
Even if they could reach that far, so many of them, why would they not accidentally get the other guy?
And why do they need so many to shield Rand? I mean, Siwan was able to do it not breaking a sweat, and Rand had no chance of being.
And these are the strongest of the Shan-Chen.
Yeah. And so, oh my gosh. They're all the Damani there, ready, and Rand just gets shielded, falls to his knees like a pathetic, weak loser.
He always suddenly falls to his knees when he's shielded. It's a magic shielding. It's not a physical shielding. You can still move, dude. You have a sword on your back.
Yes, but he does get to his feet because in this instance, he is not denying the authority of a woman. He's denying the authority of a man. So now they'll let him pull to his feet even while being shielded. But when one woman did it before, weaker, right? No, he was cowering on his knees the entire time. Again, they're not consistent at all. Loyal was like, we can't open the box and the horn, right? And then Matt's like, oh, but I've got this. And then he reacted like, that yes, the dagger will open the box. And I'm like, Loyal, how do you bloody know that? Everyone knows the dagger's a lightsaber now. Since when? But anyway, the dagger, unironically, lightsabers open. The box. We're in like just such nonsense territory here. And they take out the Horn of Valier and they need to give it to Rand. They need to get it to Rand. And before, they were all kind of reluctant. So in the books, they were reluctant to blow it. And it's only when the armies were assembling that Matt's like, well, we got it. Might as well use it, basically. But in here, it's a completely different setup and position. Nowhere near as kind of cool or a build-up. And it's not even to face the army. He's just trying to get it to Rand, and there's a couple of soldiers blocking him. And he's like, well, screw it. I'll blow the horn here. So anyway, there's that. So Matt runs off with it. Nynaeve can't heal Elaine because, you can channel when you're afraid, though, Nynaeve. The city's under attack. You're telling me you're not feeling any fear at all?
Anger, nothing.
Nothing? But no, again, consistency. This show is just absolute dog crap. Because they set up, fear or anger. She should be able to channel easily, dear. And they showed her channeling.
There's an army. There's fighting. Your friend's been shot. No, nothing?
Okay, now this is them backtracking or floundering, trying to return something. Because Perrin needs to get his axe, and he needs to kill the White Cloak to have the enemy there. And so he's attacked by Valda, which is the guy who tortured him in season 1. Doggo appears from nowhere. The Doggo's
magic wolf,
but Hopper comes, saves the wolf, but then the dad White Cloak comes in, kills the wolf, and
They're still white cloaks.
Perrin goes berserker. And it's like this is them just trying flounderingly to do some of the plot that they were supposed to do in season 1 for Perrin, right? So Matt runs into these Shon-Shan, has to get it. By the way, the horn looks awful.
It is such a bizarre looking horn.
What an ugly...
It looks like, a drinking skin or something? I don't really know.
Like some weird seashell crap. It's really ugly. Doesn't look like a horn at all. And so he's about to blow it. Perrin comes out, kills the White Cloak in front of the sun. Matt blows the horn. And
I remember.
This is the level. The fog is supposed to blanket the land that comes. It's like when you blow the horn, it's like this huge momentous moment where 50 ancient heroes with incredible, insane power come that can waylay 2 armies. Instead, just a couple of maybe 8, 10 people who can just fight. And they just fight.
And they just kind of appear and disappear out of mists and kill people.
And Uno's there because screw the creators. It's like, no, this doesn't give you anything. The disrespect you did to Uno. Come off it. I'm not letting you get away with that. And then this is how they because they have screwed up Matt's progression character and everything. Matt has old blood in him. He's connected to the ancient kings of Manetheren, and the dagger did such damaging effects to his mind that the healing process to heal his mind drew on memories in his lineage, and he gets all these memories from the past, and he becomes a indomitable battle strategist as a result in the books. They completely dog-crapped everything on that, where Matt's healing is still just a useless idiot that they show him in the show, because in the books he was never a useless idiot. And so they're trying to say that by blowing the horn, his memories come back because he is actually a hero of the horn in past lives. And I'm like, again, this gaslighting bullcrap, right? It's like, at no point has the show in any way given Matt any heroic characteristics or behaviors or skills or whatever. There's nothing showing him
saying that he is a horrible, loudly pointed person.
Yeah, nothing has shown him to be an actual hero of the horn because the heroes of the horn, they are such powerful souls that every life they live, they become a hero because their natural, force of will pushes them down the path and they become. And so where is his heroic skills? Well, what
has he done to help anybody?
Exactly. How is it where is the reflection in the show? What you've shown us to indicate he is a hero of the horn? Nothing. But they've ruined his character, and this is them floundering to try and repair things and to try and give him the lost memories of past selves and things. And they're trying to tell you, oh, yes, he's a hero of the horn. And it's like, no, you've shown us the opposite. Stop lying to us, okay? And so it just comes off as insulting, try hard, just like when Moraine was saying, to Lan, oh, you were always better than me. No, you've shown the opposite of that. Just like with Matt, you've shown the opposite here. And so, but anyway, that's their attempt to try and repair some of the horrible damage they've done with the plot to give Matt his memories back by he's a hero of the horn. And okay, if this was their intent, right, that must have been set up, the scripts, the entire arc of season 2 should have been known before they started filming. And so they had the opportunity to reflect certain things that indicated Matt being a hero of the horn.
And they've done nothing to show that maybe he has good characteristics?
They've hated this character from the get-go and doubled down of it in season 2, making him a pathetic coward, all right? Especially in season 2. And they had the opportunity to actually set up this. This is a payoff with no setup at all. It's just, I'm a horn. Yeah, I fought with you in past generations, the other hero says.
It's like, I'm starting to remember.
Yeah, and then he now is like, he's got all the fighting skills and he speaks in the old tongue and he leads a battle charge. And it's like, you haven't earned this at all. Oh. But look, at least they have Matt doing something. Right? And then Uno's there.
Helpfulness is negligible.
But look, this is the battle of the heroes of the horn compared to them doing this massive charge against an entire army of the Shon-Shan against a city and then just using massive powers.
Yeah.
Perrin killing the dad, the son seeing him. Again, they're trying to do damage control and recover the story. Uno appears and is like, "Hey, look, I'm a hero of the Horn." And this is a weird thing, right?
And then he's like, "Here, have a shield."
Have a shield. He gives his shield to Perrin so he can fight with 2 weapons. He's like, "Don't be so bloody surprised. I'm a hero of the Horn." And by the way, it's like, okay, I can actually accept Uno being a hero of the Horn more than I can with Matt, because they showed Uno having heroic, courage, right? And actually doing something. Like, there's how you set it up, right? You didn't do it with Matt, and you had the opportunity, but Uno gives him his shield. To me, I was like, this plays off as just like, I'll hold this so I can use my swords, right? But no, this shield is a magic hero shield that can block the power of the Forsaken.
Yeah. It's very special.
Oh my gosh. And so, yeah, more fighting with Matt. Matt gets past. He's running up to Rand. This moment was dumb. It's like...
Use your knowledge as a wisdom if the power's not working. So how does a wisdom know what to do with the crossbow bolt through the leg?
Well, I can accept that she knows that. But the thing is, though, she wouldn't do that here. You're still in the middle of a battle. And so to sometimes tend a crossbow, because like bolts usually, if they got a broadhead, they have prongs, and pulling out causes more damage.
Yeah, so you got to push it through, right?
So pushing through, right?
And they sometimes would break it so that you're not putting all the feathers and things.
Yes. Pushing through still causes additional pain and damage. And if you need to move around in the immediate time frame after getting shot, you leave it in because it plugs the wound, right? And so here, they're not in a position to wrap it up and tend the wounds and let her and everything. And they still need to walk around. And so Nynaeve decide, like, the people writing this, they haven't done any research about some of the most basic stuff, right? It's like, no, if she still needs to walk around and you're not in a position for her to rest up and everything like that, you leave it in there. That's going to stay the blood flow. Instead, she pushes it through, which now has 2 holes in her leg. It'll bleed everywhere. They don't even wrap it or anything like that. It's just... This show is dumb. Okay. And yeah, the scream, pushing, it's like... And then once it's through, it's like, oh yeah, you're good to get up now.
Let's go. Yep, I can do it.
Oh my gosh. So Rand, right? Rand can get to his feet because he's denying the authority of a man. That's how because why didn't you do this when he was in front of the Amyrlin? Give him some moment of strength and courage, right? And it's
he
really...
can practice standing up when he's shielded.
And they set it up like Land gave him the line, whatever you face, do it on your feet. Famous line, and we love that line, right? They set it up and there's no payoff in that episode. And in fact, he does the opposite, showing that Rand is not a man in that episode. Because they don't understand set up and payoff, and they love to belittle the male characters. Okay, so Rand gets up there, and then he instantly, like... Matt appears. And so pay attention to the position. So we might need to go back. See where they are and see where Matt comes out. They're standing. So Rand is here. Forsaken's there. And Matt's off to the side. You can see that right here, okay? And so he walks around a little bit and he's still to the side, even right then. Okay? And Matt, you know this is like a crazy death dagger. Why don't you just run up and stab it? Why are you throwing it?
You're being quiet.
Yeah.
Just sneak up and go, stabby stab.
But instead, Matt, he decides to throw it. And to me, this looks like it's still on the side. And they're trying to show that it goes through. Okay, so now they're showing his more direct. That still looks a bit to the side. But anyway, it goes through the Forsaken and just hits Rand right there. And it's just like, Matt, why did you throw it? And also, why'd you risk it? Like, even if you try and say that Rand is directly behind the Forsaken, would you risk throwing like a death dagger that might hit your friend?
You'd think he'd be in an angle where if it missed, it wouldn't actually hit him.
Yep.
But no.
Oh my gosh, this is so bad. So, yeah, Rand's dead.
He should be.
And I thought, like, they set up some payoffs again. They set up that Nynaeve is having trouble healing Elaine because of the block, right? And so it would have an emotional payoff if she overcomes that barrier, that challenge. And look, wouldn't you know, there's someone else here who now needs to be healed. And who is the one who has the most epic, powerful healing ability?
Nynaeve, right?
Nynaeve.
And, there's nothing of this is making her mad because she can't channel, and there's two people that are wounded. These are her friends. Nothing.
And
she's just like, I can't do it.
Yeah, and you would think seeing Rand, someone that she, helped raise on deathbed, would be quite a scary thing. Maybe scary enough to channel, right? Because all she needs to be is afraid as well as being angry. And so there is a free emotional payoff sitting right there. You've set it up. But it's Elaine that heals Rand. Elaine, who has shown no talent in healing. By the way, this is a death dagger stab, right? Elaine would have trouble healing a cut, let alone a mortal wound, let alone a mortal wound from a death dagger. It's just, I would say it's too much for Nynaeve, but at least Nynaeve has the greater power and healing ability.
Yes.
This is almost as bad as Egwene healing Nynaeve from death in the they're doing it again. Because
Nynaeve's main trait is she's the healer, and they don't give her opportunities to heal.
And so,
they give her opportunities, and they just make her so she can't do it.
And Nynaeve was dead. She was dead in the end of season 1. No one can convince me otherwise. She was absolute dead. And Egwene, because she's amazing, just healed her from death. And so what should have happened is that Egwene should have been on death's door, not dead, showing signs of life. And that's the moment where Nynaeve could have shown that's her big talent, to heal Egwene. But no, they like, it's right there. It's free. You set it up. But they don't understand the characters. They do not understand the source material. In fact, they resent it. You can feel the resent oozing from this adaptation.
And, Egwene being able to bring Nynaeve back from the dead, she would be a handy one to heal him. And Nynaeve could get mad enough at Forsaken and she could deal with him.
Yes.
But Nynaeve does nothing either.
Nynaeve does nothing. She's just dragged along, right? And there are so many free opportunities because usually you want all the main characters to do at least something to help, right? And so even if you want Elaine to heal Rand, so Rand falls in love with her because, he sees the
Nightingale effect
beauty.
or whatever. Yeah,
right. Egwene already had a moment to break free and everything like that. Nynaeve is the strongest one. If anyone has any hope of holding off a Forsaken other than Rand here, it's Nynaeve.
Especially when she's furious.
Yes. Especially not the injured Egwene. But Egwene just gets up because she's a girl boss. And look at this moment. They give her the she stands strong in defiance and everything like that. And so they go out of their way to give Egwene this moment and go out of their way to rob Rand and also the other male characters of moments like this. It's intentional. Don't tell me or try and gaslight me it's not. No. They go out of their way to make the male characters wet, pathetic rags and the female characters epic bosses, right? And here is the moment where they've already lost the plot. They lost the plot from the get-go with this episode. But Rand is supposed to have saved Egwene. But now, I don't know. It's going to be Egwene is going to save Rand because of modern politics.
Save her.
Yeah, I know. But oh yeah, you're right. It was the girls, but he had a role because the city was still besieged, and he helped save everyone in the city essentially by being part of and killing Turok and getting the horn and all that stuff. Right? He does nothing to help.
He doesn't even see Egwene.
Yeah.
For the last part of the book. She gets rescued by Nynaeve and Elaine and Min, and then they get shipped back to the tower before he's even conscious.
Yeah, that's right, because he falls unconscious after the battle.
Yeah, because he's so mortally wounded from the
Forsaken. He sees her at a distance, but they don't meet. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But yeah, so instead of any of the guys actually saving the girls, so here's the first time that the hero, the main character, right, the one that you're invested in, that you want to see do heroic things to save the
one they're all fighting
and all
over
that
being
stuff.
The dragon because he's so powerful and amazing.
Yeah. No, he is dead, dying, defeated, shielded, pathetic, weak, no power.
Dagger threw him from his friend.
And the moment of defiance is Egwene, and she's going to come in and save Rand. And my issue is that they are specifically desecrating the source material and it's clearly because of agenda. This is nowhere near better than how the book plays out, okay? Because people try to say, no, they changed it because they foresaw a better way. They do not. They clearly don't have the competence to write anything better than what's in the source material, okay? And so, no, it's not to make... Well, to them, it's better because it fulfills the modern-day political, things, where isn't it empowering that a woman saves herself? That makes it better. Their mind, it's better because of agenda and ideology, not for actual proper setup and payoff and natural talented storytelling tropes, right? Storytelling conventions and stuff. And so Egwene, she should not have the power to do this. She's not strong. She's injured. She's just been beaten half to death by a trebuchet, right? And then she takes on a bloody Forsaken and can just resist him because she is so amazing. It's Mary Sue crap, right? As where she should not be this powerful, but again, she's amazing. And look at this, she even starts to push back and walk forward towards him. And this is a friggin' Forsaken, right? Like, Egwene really is the main character. Like, she is more powerful than Nynaeve in this. Like, this show had more focus on her, I think, and then of course Moraine.
Moraine and Egwene,
Yep.
who they've put a lot of the focus on.
Yep. And so this is where Moraine sees the shielding. They're on the boat, and she delivers the line. Let's see if I can get
What if those
the
ships are
thing.
full of innocent people?
What if those ships are innocent people?
not
What if it's not
I will let
Rand?
1,000
I will let 1,000 innocent people die. Right then. Face
innocent
off.
people die if there's even a...
If there is even a chance that he will live. Not like...
Well, there's a face right there, isn't it?
I know, right? You would think an action that you would undertake that would ensure the death of 1,000 innocent people, you would want to be pretty assured that that would achieve your goal, right? Because they think, it's a more important thing for Rand to be saved because then everyone is
Save
saved.
the world. But
Yeah.
just in case,
No,
we might be saving
Just a
him.
chance, even if there's a chance.
So there's a chance I might be saving him right now, so I'm just going to kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, but like that, she's acknowledging then that Rand might not even be there, and that these boats could be full of innocent people, and killing them might achieve absolutely nothing. But because there's a chance, she will willingly murder 1,000 innocent people on the vague possibility that it saves Rand. It's like, yeah, she's astronomically evil. I can't believe it.
I'm fairly certain at this point she's probably killed more people than Lanfear in this scene.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Moraine is unironically more evil than the Forsaken Lanfear.
Lanfear has set a few houses on fire.
Blown up a head or two.
Yeah.
But Moraine actually has murdered more people. And you're right, she breaks the oaths to use the power as a weapon. And it's like, Moraine, it shouldn't be this powerful, by the way. She friggin' fireballs these boats like from a distance with epic, insane levels of power.
And fire isn't her strength.
Yeah, women
don't have
aren't
fire
strong
as
with fire. It's odd that Egwene even has some strength in fire and earth, like more so than
Because
others.
if anything, you would think she would do a big thing of wind and push the boats away so that they're out of range. But she doesn't do that. She
Yeah.
just fireballs them.
Maybe she could have summoned a storm.
No, that would be pushing it.
Yeah, they're not windfinders, and they don't have the kind
No.
of, and they don't know the weaves that the windfinders have, so they really do epic stuff. Yeah, but she full on goes uber level. And at most, Moraine could summon maybe a jet of flame from the sky, some lightning bolts and stuff.
Lightning bolts I would have seen.
Yeah, but she's too far. She's too distant. But anyway, so this is Ishamael is still struggling against Egwene because Egwene is so amazing. But now Egwene starts to fall back, and we gotta give the guys do something. And so Perrin comes in.
With his magic hero shield.
Yeah, and he's got a shield, and so the shield for some reason
Reinforces her weave somehow.
reinforces the shield Egwene has for reasons. It's a magic shield that powers Egwene's stuff.
I don't know.
And how did Perrin know that shield would do anything? It's just such nonsense. Okay, so now Nynaeve comes in, and you think, okay, Nynaeve, here's your opening. They've set it up. You're
mad. There's an injured person. You're the healer. Let's go.
And then Elaine, who has no talent with healing, she's shown that she hasn't had a huge power at all. She heals him not just from death's door, from a cursed point. Like in the books, when this dagger like even nicks people, they bubble up in black pussy, stuff and die in a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Right. So bullcrap Elaine would be able to heal him. And this is where they're going to explain where Rand gets. So Rand in the books has an injury in his side, okay, which stays with him for the rest of his life. And it's just a constant pain. And it's actually a reflection of incredible strength that Rand is able to bear this unhealed injury in his side. How he gets that in the book is that he risks death throwing himself on the sword of Ishamael as he's battling him in the sky
in order to get the kill.
To get the kill. He does a heroic sacrifice to let himself die to kill who he perceives as the Dark One himself, right? To save the world. He thinks this is his moment.
He doesn't think he's Forsaken. He thinks he's the Dark One and that he's going to beat him.
Yes.
And that it's okay if he has to die to do it.
His life is forfeit to do it. It's one of the most epic, heroic sacrifices where he's willing to die for it. And that's where he gets the wound that won't heal because it was done by Ishamael. Look at how that built Rand as a character in the books in a heroic way. And this is what they substitute it with. Matt missing a shot and stabbing Rand with the dagger
And the wound that he gets is, plagues him for the rest of the series.
Yes.
And so now it's going to be Matt's fault for the rest of the series.
Yes.
And Elaine's fault for not healing it properly.
Yeah.
They will be the ones to blame for this wound. Not the Forsaken and a noble sacrifice, but his friend.
And so Moraine going Super Saiyan. And look at the distance of those ships. God, and again, she's not this powerful, especially with fire, but this show doesn't care. It literally doesn't care about any consistency, even their own consistency and rules that they establish and show in the episodes, okay? Because it's just nonsense crap stuff is happening for reasons, arbitrary reasons, because the plot needs to move forward in this way. And also Moraine's a woman, so so the second time Rand is saved is when Elaine heals him. Saved from death's door, and they're also going to be dead if he remains shielded. And so who steps in? Moraine. Rand is so incompetent, he needs to be saved 3 times, right? And then Moraine, look at this uber power level. Again, the show is trying to tell you, look how epic this emotional payoff is. Look how epic this moment is. You should, isn't this show to me, this is like the creators getting high on their own farts. They're just like thinking, we're so good. We're so good, right? And it shows you, by the way, that they're trying to get the audience deluded or hooked in, deceived by the music and the moment. It's epic. When in actual fact, pay attention. No, this is nonsense right here, okay? This is just Mary Sue girls, for no set up reason, Moraine is just super powerful. When no point was she showing this powerful.
Establish that there's different levels and that some are more stronger than others. But when they need the story to have somebody do a super duper Saiyan fireball, they can just do it. Yeah,
and look at this, and she just destroys. A fire goes through the water for some reason.
Yeah, no steam. It just kind of
it's
flies
just
through.
It's a fire in water.
Yep.
It's traveling through the water. And we're talking. That looked 20 kilometers almost. Oh, gosh. Maybe 10 kilometers, right? Fire traveling through and then just kaboom.
And it's under the water, but somehow they see it and know that's coming.
Yeah, and then not only that, it spreads to the other ships, okay?
And there's only 2 fireballs.
Yeah, look. And then this fireball arcs down and hits the other ships as well. Breaks the weave.
She's just got it jumping around through ships.
Rand is now healed. He has power again because he was saved, not for the sake of his own strength. And then he just blocks up. And look, Ishamael, he just stands there.
Yeah.
Where is his fire wreath? This is, you could still have
a big sword fight
exactly.
in the sky, right?
You could still have the payoff that's in the book. It's right there. The opportunity is in front of you. So they didn't do it.
We're leading up to it. I'm like, we might actually get a sword fight. Not the 2 that we hoped for, but maybe 1. No.
They purposefully and intentionally took it away. They didn't want to give Rand an epic moment of battling with a sword in the sky, right? Instead, they had this Forsaken just roll over and stand there and take it. Look, he just stands there, right? It does nothing! He literally stands there and lets Miguel be stabbed in the heart! This is him committing suicide.
Yes.
Does he kind of want that because he just wants to die? But then is it only because they don't explain anything? Because is it only that the dragon can probably kill a Forsaken or something? But we have no explanation. And then he turns to dust. Such a pathetic letdown.
And then Moraine's like, oh, the prophecy said that he would be heralded in the sky and there would be a sign in the sky. Oh, I better make that then.
Yeah, and look, that fireball is still destroying all the ships. And look at the distance. Okay, and so now, the prophecy.
Let's make it happen.
Make it happen when it was the pattern doing it. And it was right. I can't believe they went out of their way intentionally to subvert what happens in the books. And it wasn't to improve. This is a weak, pathetic version of what could have been in the books. And so they did it intentionally. And it really looks like blatantly to rob the male character of such a heroic moment and a heroic sacrifice, to sacrifice himself on the enemy's sword to defeat the bad guy, right? Because this is where you should have seen Rand battling with him in the sky above Falmer, and Moraine could have seen him from a distance, right?
And the whole point of that happening is that it's not something the Aes Sedai could do.
Yes, exactly.
It needed to be something that couldn't be forced by somebody.
Yes, otherwise any false dragon could have just gone to Falmer, cast a dragon in the sky, and therefore prophecy fulfilled.
Yes.
Yes, you are absolutely right. And so this is contradictory bullcrap that, anyone could do it now. Anyone with the power, false dragons, Mazrim Taim, Logain, whatever, they could have done it because Moraine, he has to be, and then again, way too much power for Moraine. She summons like a fire dragon, point right there. It's like, it can just be faked now. It's just...
Why is that important? Why is it fulfilling prophecy if anybody can do that?
Yeah.
Just call in an Aes Sedai and you're good.
Yep.
He could have done it himself.
And so the heroes, they just fought people like on a battlement in a castle. They didn't actually save the city. They disappear.
White Cloaks have gone somewhere. Don't know what they're doing.
Is that going to be, is it Massima? The one that becomes the prophet of the dragon?
Maybe.
I think that's going to be him. Okay, yeah, Egwene saved herself. So powerful, so brave. Lanfear goes in because she wants to get rid of the seals. And they showed these seals in that room already. I need to stop giving the writers the benefit of the doubt because I thought they can't really be the actual seals of the other Forsaken. Surely not. Surely they're just like, because they saw people worshipping the Forsaken, they had little symbols for them, and I thought they were just like rock symbols, of them there, right? Because if they were the seals, I was like, why the hell hasn't he released any? He could release them at any time. Doesn't have to be all, just one. He knows that Lanfear is betraying him. I was like, but anyway, he does. He releases them all here, and now it's revealed Moghedien is here, and suddenly Moghedien is stronger than Lanfear, and just like absolutely cows Lanfear without a sweat. And so they're trying to tease season 3 now that, Moghedien's going to be the bad person. And then Lanfear is like, light, hope you Randall Thor.
Which was the weirdest thing ever for a Forsaken to say.
Yeah, like asking the light, the thing she's forsaken, that's literally the name of
to help the dragon.
To help. Oh my gosh. Light help. What a perfect encapsulation as to reveal how much the people who made this show do not understand the books at all. Rafe Judkins. Wow, this episode was a doozy.
It was. It was long and challenging to get through. There was lots happening that should have. I don't even know what.
Yeah. Can you see why I think it's like the worst episode of the entire series?
I can see it.
Like this is...
I get it.
An absolute disaster of an episode.
And I can't believe that they could get so close to the book and be so far away from it as well.
Yeah.
It is baffling.
Oh, wow. This is an abomination of a show, genuinely, on its own merits, and especially when you compare it to the books. And it's an activist-filled, agenda-driven piece of drivel propaganda. And they go out of the way to butcher and make a mockery of great characters and a great story sacrificed on the altar of their activism to push their own agenda. And it's on full display here, right? The underlying philosophy, right? Moraine just spits it out, you know? It's perfectly morally acceptable for 1,000 innocent people to be murdered if it achieves the goals to benefit the collective and the greater good. That is the underlining pernicious evil philosophy of the extreme woke, agenda. Okay, and
Even
that's how.
without that, the whole series makes me sad
Yeah.
because they ruin the characters you love and highlight the characters you're perfectly neutral and don't care about.
And they give way too much time to that we don't care.
Inconsequential ones. Like Egwene, she does some cool stuff in the books. I don't care about her heaps in the books. And they try to make her a girl boss in this. And characters that you love in the books like Matt. and Min and there are so many others.
Yeah.
They ruin.
Assassinate, absolutely destroy on nearly every fundamental level. And it's intentional. Like they're doing it intentionally, which is vile to me.
Because you would like to think maybe it's just incompetence, but it's obviously not. It's purposeful. And you're like, why would you purposefully
Destroy
something so loved?
Because they resent the actual higher and wholesome morality that the books reflect.
Which is ridiculous. You would think if you resent it and you don't like it.
Why are you working on it?
Exactly.
But
pick another property to work on that already has what you want.
But they want to destroy these things because they resent what they stand for. And so it's a part of the agenda. And I don't think they're twirling mustache. I think actually probably some do, honestly. But a lot of them do this subconsciously because of they get drowned in the activism of it all, feminism and all that stuff. Yet when you have moments like that line, 1,000 people die, innocent people, to achieve the goals and stuff like that, it shows that they understand their morality and their philosophy well enough to promote it and try and sneak it in subtextually. That's not subtextually, that's just blatantly into the show to try and get people to believe the same thing. And it's a vile, evil thing where the actual true, most important thing is the rights of the individual and sovereignty of the individual, okay? And no, the actual morality is that you would rather die than commit an evil, even for fighting for a good end, right? That's the noble thing, that doing the right thing is so important, okay, that you don't concede and make, concessions on your own goodness, okay? And I understand not everything is black and white, but you have to understand that you need to try. That's the goal that needs to be, pushed for. And there are other signs of it. They made so many vile, evil characters in the books, sympathetic and understandable.
Yeah.
And then they made so many heroes of the books, terribly evil. I got out of the way. Matt...
They're supposed to be uniquely
Moraine,
wholesome and adorable. Like, people comment
about
how sweet, naive, and wholesome these characters are. And you come in and you're like, you are not sweet and wholesome.
All awful.
Yeah.
Vile.
So I often like to look at a show and I'm like, if I wouldn't want to be friends with that person, why would I barrack for them in these shows?
Yes.
So many shows we come across. This isn't the only one where I'll look at it and go, I don't think I'd want to be their friend.
Yes.
It seems rather dangerous and not a good place to be at.
Yeah, these are bad people.
Yeah.
Why would I want them to win?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of see why the Dark was trying to destroy this world. Right?
And you shouldn't be barracking for people like the White Cloaks.
Or Leandrin.
Or Leandrin. Or Lanfear. These should be the people you're thinking, I don't want them anywhere near me.
Right? It goes to show you how lost and how much these creators don't understand what is truly right and wrong. Okay? And it's reflected in the media. We saw this with Rings of Power and Wheel of Time. WoW has just stepped up to the plate to stand beside that. What an absolute disaster and desecration this show is.
But thank goodness it's done for now.
For now, it's done. We got through it. I'm interested to see where I think Amazon will keep it going, because as a vanity project, they could never admit that, they failed so drastically. Like, this show is not getting viewed. There are people who say it's great, and it's like, really, like...
My opinion, I think they'll get one more season and it won't go any further. It's not going to be able to keep the distance, I don't think.
Maybe they'd only get one more season.
I reckon they might be already started on third season and they won't back down from that. But I don't think they're going to get beyond
wrap
that.
it up. Have one season to, that's going to be the end.
Yeah.
And they'll just have to bastardize and...
They're going to butcher everything else.
Everything. They'll have to just like,
make their own story.
Make their own story of how the final battle happens.
Yeah.
But Amazon, I think, we'll see. I do suspect that it's...
I think they want to do more, but...
The results.
Yeah.
It depends if anyone actually comes in and gives an objective look at how much money Amazon Prime is making in these vanity project shows and all the money that they're losing with it. We'll see. But if they do make another season...
we'll be here to tell you about it.
Because that's what we do here. We stay on watch.